Interesting article on ESPN this morning about Peyton Manning, written by a gentleman that we're both friendly with, Jeff Legwold.
Used to work here for the Post.
Yeah, and basically the article said that Peyton had to go through this whole checklist of things before he felt comfortable coming back to the Broncos.
I thought Jeff did a really good job, and that was the first interview, a conversation where Peyton kind of diagrammed what he did in the offseason, and I was jealous because I should have gotten that, but there have been a lot of things going on in my life and in town. But for people who haven't seen it, and you and I were involved in part of it. We met with him down in, not writing the story, but we saw Peyton down at the Super Bowl when he was getting an award, and we saw him during that process. You know that I was writing stuff during the period of time from my sources who are very close to him about what was going on with him in regard to physicals. But to sum it up, what Jeff said, that first of all, he wanted to find out if the Broncos wanted him back, and according to Peyton and what Jeff wrote, John Elway did want him back. Yeah. He wanted to know if he would be accepted by Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak said, we'll build an offense that will be predominantly a Peyton Manning offense. Number two, he, as reported at the time, he went to the trainer in New Orleans,
Mackie Shilstone,
who's worked with a lot of elite athletes in a lot of different sports, and said, give me, according to Jeff's comments, what Peyton said was a non-BS physical. Work me out. Put me through all the trials to see if I'm physically able to come back. Once he passed that test, battery of tests, I would say, then mentally he had to sit down and see if he wanted to come back and play. And I think we would all know that mentally he's a tough guy, wants to play, wanted. The only thing that was left out there, I think the fourth thing is, why would I want to come back? I'm taking a cut and pay. There's a lot going on in my life. I can move ahead and become governor of Tennessee or whatever it might be. He came back because he still enjoys it.
Yeah.
He enjoys practice. And he says that more than anybody I've ever met, that he enjoys practice. He loves watching film. He loves the camaraderie with the players, even though a lot of players think he's a little bit aloof. But the friends he does have on a team, Brandon Stokely when he was here, Wes Welker, he's of a different generation of a lot of the guys. But he has a great relationship with Demaryius Thomas. I think when he, as the story said in ESPN, we hear it all the time, he checked all the boxes, he's back. I do believe this will be the last one. No, I do believe it. He's always told me.
Got 2 years left on the contract.
He always told me he wanted to fulfill the contract, but I think if he can get it this year or get close again.
I think if they win and he stays healthy, I can see him coming back. I've never seen a guy who has the sport in his blood the way that Peyton does. I don't know what Peyton would do without the film study, without the practice, without the training. My guess is he's going to end up, much like John Elway, running a team, possibly owning part of a team before it's all said and done. But boy, oh boy, the void he's going to feel when he is done playing, it's going to be a Grand Canyon-sized void. And I think Peyton is going to play as long as he can still get up in the morning without creaking too much, putting on the uniform, putting on the shoulder pads, and able to still throw the ball with precision.
I'm going to throw out something. I'm going to ask you about this because I believe nobody ever brings this up. I think he's going to go into analyst work.
On television?
Yeah. John Elway didn't want to do it. John Elway didn't want to do it.
No.
But I think Peyton is cut out because he majored in speech communications. You know how he handles a press conference.
And the way he analyzes things.
I think that would fulfill one thing he really likes to do. What is that?
Talk the game.
Look at film.
Yeah.
And that's a John Gruden kind of, that was a...
you know what? That's a great point. I could see that. But my guess is, after a year or two of that, I can see him going into management.
I'm not so sure. I think he really enjoyed Saturday Night Live. He enjoys being involved with the programs. He liked that 30 for 30 SEC thing where it was about his family.
The Book of Manning.
Yeah, I believe, and I'm going to talk to him about that during training camp. I believe, and I know what he'll say to me on the record. He'll say, "I'm not thinking about all
Right.
that," but I think off the record, he is thinking that he could go into Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football if
like
Gruden
that.
comes back and be a part of it.
Can you imagine? You know why I'm smiling? Can you imagine the bidding war between CBS, NBC, ESPN, and Fox for his services?
And the NFL Network. That might be a way to pump up their Thursday night games. So I would just say, I'm just planting a seed in your mind.
No, that's a great idea. I love that. And it makes sense.
That Saturday Night Live stuff, he took control when he went on Saturday Night Live. And he was not only funny, it was smart kind of stuff. He's always been smart in press conference because he prepares. And people may not know, and people who followed this program and us know this, he prepares for every press conference. He has a couple of zingers to throw into every press conference. And
he's much like Shannon Sharp in that way. He anticipates the questions that are going to be asked, and he practices the answers.
Not only does he anticipate, he's told what he's going to be asked in a lot of cases.
But he also...
And as a result of that,
Yeah.
because you know as well as I do, and you've interviewed him, that when I want to talk to him, I go, what's the conversation going to be about?
Sure.
Or Patrick Smythe say, what's the conversation going to go down? He thinks about it. Like if I said, I'm going to talk to you later this afternoon about your shirt selections, you'd think about it, and you'd have a couple of things to come back with.
And he'll also try to come up with a funny, entertaining
that's what I'm saying.
on that subject.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He comes up with a few zingers because he knows that then he can maybe deflect some of the questions he really doesn't want to answer because people will say, the laughter that comes. Two things real quickly. You brought up Fox's. Not John Fox, ranking of the Broncos.
The pre-training camp
There's
NFL
some
power
rankings coming out about quarterbacks. Have you seen those? ESPN had their top tier.
Well, the truth be known,
you don't have insider?
I don't have insider.
It's Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers at the top, in the one that's on Fox.
They're considered the tier 1 quarterbacks.
Yeah, that he's fallen a little bit on ESPN, but he's 4 on the Fox rating. 4.
4th overall, Peyton Manning?
Yeah, that's sort of
So is that a tier 1 or is that a tier 2?
Well, this on the Fox. Now, on the ESPN, he's fallen a little bit. He's in the top tier, but he's not considered. I've wondered, because we saw some in the offseason that we don't trust as much, sites and art, because these are people that are asking general managers and stuff like that, and he'd fallen to 7th or 8th. I wonder how he feels. Got to ask him again. How motivating is it for the first time in his career, since maybe he was a rookie or second year, that he's not considered a top 3 quarterback in the league?
Well, you and I both know him. My guess is it's very motivating. He's got a long memory.
But you and I think we got him ranked about 5th. That's about where I have him.
4th, 5th.
Aaron Rodgers and Andrew Luck, Tom Brady. Then you can throw it into a hat a little bit of whether, if you're a Russell Wilson kind of fan.
Russell Wilson.
Breeze got number 3 in the ESPN. Didn't that surprise you a little bit?
Yeah, especially since he's losing one hell of a receiver in Jimmy Graham.
The record has been barely 500 or below, 24, 26, something like that. Roethlisberger's still in there. Flacco gets some mention, but he's got to be, in my mind, he's got to be in the top 5, 6.
Well, you can certainly make a case he's as high as number 4. I don't know if you can make a case more than that.
Well, Brady and
Favre
Luck and Favre.
Yeah.
Not Favre. Rodgers. Rodgers
and Luck.
Luck and Brady have to be the top 3.
Yeah.
He's in, I would say, right there behind them.
Yeah, I'm with you. That segment brought to you by Shanahan Steakhouse, selected by the public as a best restaurant in Denver. It is the best restaurant in Denver. Forget about that other stuff. And it's Open Tables 2015 Diner's Choice winner. So book a reservation today. Go to where Woody and I go all the time to eat. It's shanahansteakhouse.com.